What's up, folks? Casual Dad here to talk about plasma and opening skull packs. And now, right now, when I'm recording this, we're in the middle of a triple reward for skull packs and random packs. So it's not maybe the ideal time to demonstrate this, but I do want to go ahead and talk about this because one of the single most consistent pieces of advice that I see for players in Warhammer Combat Cards is that the best way to spend plasma, note the quotes, is to open victory packs early. So to spend the plasma to open your skull packs. So again, this is triple rewards, so this isn't the best time to show this off, but it came up in a conversation last week and just feels timely to go ahead and talk about it. So I've got my skull packs here. This is what I'm talking about. If I run the timer out, and I've got 2 pages of this, so it's not the best example, but this does still feel like a good time to show it because this is triple what you normally get from a skull pack. And ooh, it's actually, okay, that's a very good skull pack. Immediately going to go ahead and dismiss the point. But again, that's triple rewards, and we're going to talk about drop rates. And of course, you can get good stuff in skull packs, even the 3-hour packs. But the question is it worth spending the plasma to open those more often? Is that the best use of your plasma? So if you start a skull pack countdown, it starts a timer, and then it also does give you the option to spend plasma to go ahead and pop it. Now that is 18 plasma. That is a lot of plasma for a 3-hour pack. And it doesn't really go down by much either, right? So even if you're saving like 5 minutes, it's still multiple plasma to go ahead and open it early. And if you're looking at a usual skull pack, you're looking at 4 to 6 rewards, one of which is usually gold. And then the drop rate, and let's go ahead and see if we can look at one of these reward packs in the store to get this. So we're looking at the battalion packs. What are big old battalion packs? Ooh, we got these ones. Anyway, just as I'm talking through this, ooh, campaign packs. Now we'll get to that in a minute. So what I'm really getting at here is I want to look at the drop rate for your totally random packs. And there should be big packs in here as soon as we get there. Because they usually have the battalion packs. Are those not in here right now? Interesting. So normally there is the option to buy just a random pack that has the option to drop anything of any rarity from any single card in the entire game. So anything from any rarity of any faction in the entire game, and that's what you get in your skull packs right here. And so you can get literally anything. And the rarity rate is 80% of every single card you flip is going to be a common, and that's rerolled every single time you pull a card from a random pack. 12.75% is going to be rare. So already we're talking almost 93% odds of flipping a common or a rare. Commons are pretty good because they're common and tend to level up quickly, but they're not really worth spending plasma on. And then rares usually are not very good. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. They don't level up as quickly as commons, so they're a little bit harder to level than commons. The drop rate is so much less, and then the max power level is just so far below epic and legendary that they're kind of awkwardly in the middle. And then you've got 6.5% chance of epic and less than 1%, 0.75% chance of opening a legendary card from a drop. Now, why does that matter? So a couple things here is when you're talking about spending plasma, plasma is one of the only resources you can use to guarantee that you're going to get a specific card, whether it's an individual copy of a card or a specific reward from a card, or even random cards but from a specific subfaction or specific filter. And being that it gives you that much power to direct the development of your collection, that makes it incredibly valuable. And so I never ever spend it on pack pops like this. I will often spend it on specific packs. So I'll save it. So the thing is that you could say it is a good investment because there's nothing else you can do with 20 plasma. The minimum thing you can do with plasma is going to be 75 plasma to get a single copy of an epic, which I will do if I don't have that card, because getting it in your collection, even a single copy of it in your collection, will then mean that any random drops can include that card. So for that, I consider it worth it because that gives you the level 1 of the epic, so you can run it in max level campaigns because all you need is 1 copy, or it just lets you get more drops of it. Occasionally, I will pay the 75 to go ahead and level up an epic. As you can see here, I need 1 copy to level it up. I never ever use it to buy cards in bulk, and I never use it to buy legendaries in the card shop because holy crap, does it take a lot. Oh, here we go, the battalion packs. And these don't, yeah, there it is. Okay, so the battalion packs here are the other more commonplace, aside from skull packs, where people say you should save your plasma to get these cards. And right now, of course, we're looking at a really, really high volume because it's triple reward weekend. That may be typical. Anyway, so this is 1,500 cards for 2,250 plasma. Now, that sounds really good, right? But I wanted to run a couple numbers by you to make sure that we're talking about like the full thinking behind that. So looking at this card shop, if I want commons, I just watch these rotations, and spending 50 gold for 5 copies of a common is an excellent deal. That is something I watch all the time. And one of my favorite ways to spend gold is on this, because gold is a resource that's fairly easy to fill up every single season. These reset every day. Great way to level up some key pieces that are low level. Like you get a new common you've never had before, you could level that sucker up real quick here. But as you can see, as you get them higher level, it's 150 to 200 copies of that card to get a single level, plus dramatically diminishing returns because epic or common cards don't really get that much more powerful once their traits are up to level 3. You get minor bumps in attack stats, which for some of them, if they have really high stats, can be good, but generally speaking, it's just not worth it. So you can see I already spent these 2 to go ahead and level them up. I'm not getting these because I have so many copies that I need. If I want to level these cards up down the road, like really want to, I can still invest the additional gold. But personally, I tend to spend my resources top cards off. So I'll spend them to level something up that's already close to leveling up. And so I wanted to highlight that too, particularly that number of copies to level up a common when we're talking about these battalion packs, because battalion packs give you a massive, massive volume of cards. But going back to that drop rate, the chance of dropping a legendary is 0.75, less than 1%. And then as you get through here, I did want to highlight how many cards there are too, because these are truly random rewards. Even if you're banking on legendary drops, you are never, I'm going to go ahead and say never, going to level up the cards that you want by getting random card drops. Even if you get the battalion packs and get those like 2,000 cards. I think there was a Shinto Bean video the other day where he did the triple rewards battalion pack and got a total of like 13 legendaries, counting 2 faction locked wild cards. And that's good, but 2,250 plasma is somewhere in the range of $20. And you can do a lot with that to kind of proceed through the game that is a little bit more efficient, I think, than the battalion packs, because the random drops are truly random. And just to run some numbers here, I did the math, and there are, let's see here, pull this up. There are 321, and I hope I got this right. There are 321 individual copies of common cards in the game. And assuming that on average it takes about 100 copies of each to level up a card, it takes 32,000, over 32,000 copies of cards to level every one of those up once. And again, truly and totally random. So you can potentially get some levels out of that, especially if you're low level, then it's a dramatically lower number. But I mean, once you get up here where this guy is not even that high level, oh, he's pretty high level. But okay, let's look at some other cards. So the point I'm trying to get at here is that the rewards are almost entirely going to be commons, vast majority commons. The volume of common cards you need to level something, or copies of common cards you need to level them up. Like this guy's level 9, it still costs 50 copies to level this guy up. I could get 43 copies of this card and get almost 0 benefit from a battalion pack. And that would be a huge chunk of the cards that I pulled in the drop. And the chances of me getting that many copies of a single common are incredibly low. Chances are I get 2 to 6 copies of every single one, which dilutes my rewards dramatically. So I've spent a massive bulk of plasma and or money to get basically no progression at all. Now, if you're a brand new player, you need a lot of copies of cards quickly. A battalion pack is a good idea, especially if you start in the store by buying a legendary or epic that you don't have, and then you get a battalion pack. So, and these will also give you large quantities of plasma if you spend the money to get them. So these have the double benefit. They do cost real money, so I wouldn't do many of these. But if there's a card or character you really, really want, you do one of those, you get the plasma, then you get the extra plasma you need to get the battalion pack, and then especially if you're a new player, the card drops you're going to get are going to be cards that are at your player level. So if you get any legendaries or epics, they're a lot more likely to be the cards that you want because they're going to be the ones that you already have in your collection or can get. Because as you level up, then that unlocks more and more cards into the general card pool, which means that your random drops become more random as you level. So to recap, new player, buy some epics or legendaries that you really, really want, and then get the battalion packs as early as possible, because the longer you play, the less benefit you get from the truly random battalion packs. Now, where I tend to spend my plasma, where I really think it's by far the most value, is on truly guaranteed rewards. Now, this is not a great example. Legendaries are extremely expensive, but there's an extra bonus to this too. So I talked just about the randomness and how the randomness dilutes the benefit of what you're getting for those 2,000 plasma. You get a guaranteed legendary, and if you buy this bundle, it is the legendary that you want, and then this is a limited pool. So this isn't a random of anything. These are all of the possible cards you could get. And the smaller the pool of cards you get in a pack, the higher odds of you actually getting levels of those cards. The less you dilute it, because even if you get 80% commons, you'll actually get meaningful progress in those commons because this is all of the commons you could possibly pull. So if you have a small scale pack like this, you get 100 cards, there's a better than good chance that almost all of it's going to be common, but it will be cards of the faction you want, of the sub-faction you want, if you pick and choose which of these bundles you get. So saving up for some of these like truly guaranteed bundles is my preferred way to do this, or spending the plasma on a random bundle, but making sure it's a random bundle within a narrow, as narrow as possible of a scope. So let's see, looking back at the card shop. Oh, this is campaign packs. Yeah. So looking at these cost real money. They give you the guaranteed rewards, but I do really like the $4 packs. Those are really nice, especially for opening players, because that lets you pick up some specific cards you want and decently controlled copies. So you know this is a couple levels of each of these guys. Like that's level 2. I think all of these are at least level 2, if not more, if you don't have them before. So that's nice. But then you get to these, and these again are also filtered. This is 80 random cards, but they will only be Ultramarines. So really tight batch of cards here. So if you get a really big pack of this, chances of getting a bunch of meaningful levels are very, very high. And if you get legendaries, you're a lot more likely to actually get multiple levels of those legendaries instead of just one. So you could end up with a level 2 Gilliman from getting this, for example. Probably not, because they're only 100 cards. But I really want to emphasize that if you are spending plasma, you want to spend it in a way that's as unrandom as possible. You want to save that until you really, really know what you're going to get is going to give you the benefit. My personal favorite way to spend plasma is these guys right here. The 150 plasma, 10 drop with a very narrow limitation. So it's going to be from a specific faction. It's not that narrow, but it is from a specific faction. So if it's a faction you're working on leveling up, it's a faction you want, you're in the wrong place, buddy. Or no, he's not. He's in the rare. Yeah, if it's a faction and a sub-faction you want, the limited pool of cards really helps you actually get progression and meaningful drops. And especially if you're a new player, a guaranteed Warlord is really, really good. And if you look at the individual factions, and I'm going to be all over the place here. I apologize for that. Look at the top. Oh, goodness. All right, start at the top. If you look at the factions, some of the Warlords are actually common. Excuse me, rare. Not common, rare. So if you're investing in the filtered packs based on the drop rate, your chances of quickly leveling up rare Warlords are actually quite high. So in Eldari, for example, you could look into the epics or legendaries, but if you're getting a guaranteed Warlord, there's a good chance you're getting multiple copies of Illic. So it's even further less randomized because the drop rates work in your favor. It's gonna be a Warlord, probably Illic, so you can actually bank on leveling up Illic faster than the others. But if you get other copies of these, epics and legendaries level up faster because you need fewer copies per level than rares. So you do actually end up kind of benefiting either way. Look at Necrons, and the bigger the pool of Warlords gets, the tougher that is. So Eldari are extra special because they have a single rare Warlord. So very high drop rate on one Warlord, which further limits what you're going to get in a random pack. Whereas Necrons have 3 rare Warlords, which is going to really dilute the random drop leveling on these guys. It'll be a lot slower to level these 3 Warlords because any copies you get will be split between the 3 of them. Keep on through. Tau, another single rare. Servants has 1 rare Warlord. So any faction that has a single rare Warlord, that one's going to be a lot easier to level up than the others through guaranteed Warlord drops. We got 2 here. That's a downside. Yeah, okay. And then in Orcs, we have 1. So you're just looking at this. These are going to be the Warlords you'll find level up most quickly, are the ones that are the most common. Shocker. But if you're getting guaranteed filtered reward packs, not only is that Warlord going to level faster, but also the bodyguards that go with that Warlord are going to level faster too. So those filtered down random packs are a really strong way to progress in the game in your chosen sub-factions. That also makes sure that you're kind of controlling your spending where you're only getting the stuff that you really want. Random, but, less random. Let's see, Votan, of course, either an epic or a rare. So your rarity drop rate is going to be really high if you do Votan guaranteed Warlord packs. But the drop rate here is so consistent that they have not done guaranteed Warlord drop packs for these. One of my favorite things I've ever seen in the shop looking at the campaign starter packs was a guaranteed copy of the Swarm Lord plus 40 Tyranid filtered, specific Hive Fleet filtered random drops. So that was an excellent pack, and I was very happy to drop 500 plasma on that last week. And that's the kind of thing that'll pop up randomly through the store that you want to look for, because that is a really small investment in plasma compared to some of the big stuff, and gave me stuff that I could immediately use. So that puts me, very close to my 4 shields and my Swarm Lord. So like that, I wanted that. It's dramatic progression, and when you can get a guaranteed legendary for something like 500 plasma, it's great, because you see how few copies of a legendary you actually need to level up. So the low drop rate doesn't mean they're going to progress more slowly, but it just rockets that progression up if you're able to control which legendaries you're getting. Because if you look at the general card pool and look just at legendaries, let's see by rarity, sorry. Even here, there are a lot of legendary cards you could get, and every single layer of randomness you add dilutes the actual progress you're going to make on these cards. Like if you look at this, this is pages and pages and pages of totally random rewards you could be getting. Thought I had that guy. Maybe not. Yeah, so it's really, I have always been confused by the conversation saying that and it's really consistent. This has popped up for literally years, that spending your plasma on these packs is the best way to spend your plasma. That is, I don't see any way that that's possible. Because it does, so it does give you the highest volume of cards, especially if it's a triple reward weekend. But even on a triple reward weekend, you're better saving your plasma and banking it up to spend anywhere between 75 for a single epic, 150 for a guaranteed Warlord pack, and then saving up until you're at the 500 to 2,000 plus range for a really good pack with stuff that you really want in it. Those, I personally think, are by far the best things to do with your plasma. So bank it, spend it a little bit at a time on the really good stuff, but you don't want to just squander it, because you're just not, you could soak a lot of money into this game opening these random packs, and it is very satisfying opening packs quickly. I do appreciate that. And especially if you're sitting down and playing a bunch, you drop like $40 on plasma, you go through and just rocket through these things. You get so many cards, you feel great. But every single cent, every single piece of plasma, every single thing that you spend there would have been better spent in a more directed way. And the skull packs do have some direction in that they go along with your clan dedication. So there is the dedication enhanced. So in these skull packs, you will get more rewards of the faction that your clan is dedicated to, as seen here. Servants? Servants. Yeah. Servants dedication right there. So when I'm popping packs, I'm more likely to get more Servants of the Emperor cards in these reward packs. So if I'm getting truly random packs, there is a slight tilt towards the sub-faction that I'm currently following. But even so, that 80% common drop rate, even within a single faction, the volume of cards you need to actually make meaningful progress is insane. And the other thing here too is that the timer packs, like it's easy to be impatient and open these early, but these are rewards you're going to get no matter what. As long as these are sitting here counting down, you will get whatever's in that pack, whether you spend the plasma or not. Whereas any of the other stuff you buy with plasma, you probably will get eventually, but it'll take a really long time to get it, as opposed to dropping 150 plasma on 11 cards. And now 11 cards for 150 plasma is not great, but the guaranteed Warlord really helps. That is the specific subfaction really helps. I use that to slowly make sure my Warlords are leveling up aggressively. And I especially look at the factions that have few Warlords. We looked at Eldari, have a really nice spread of rarity. So like Eldari, again, has the one rare Warlord, which is really nice. And then also have Warlords whose presence is actually felt on the table. So like, if we're looking at our Warlords, I do not ever. Oh yeah, I'm still filtered. We'll reset that. I don't want to see Tolmaron on the table. If I'm running Tolmaron, I don't want to play him. If I'm running Yarrick, I don't want to play him. So those guys are ones that you don't want to level up because it's a bit of a waste. Where you could level up an epic bodyguard that will be on the table and whose impact will be felt. But there are a lot of warlords, like this entire first row, the cheap warlords, are ones that you don't want to play because if you play them, it's a close game and your chances of losing get infinitely higher because these guys all have fairly low hit points and are quite squishy. And that goes all the way on up, even to like the first one that I'm fairly comfortable putting on the table and being okay with is going to be like Nemesis or Zandrak. Everyone above that, you are better off not playing them. So, yeah. So, again, even the random rewards, like there are a lot of things that you don't want to focus on leveling because you don't really benefit. Flip side, the Avatar is one where he's so expensive and is such like banana stats at top level and traits that you probably will play him. And if you play him, he may close out the game for you comfortably rather than being a liability on the battlefield. Of course, him being on the battlefield makes you more likely to lose, but these warlords are all ones who are kind of meant to hit the board, where you want them to actually close out games, where you want them to have an impact, so you want them to be leveled. Whereas the higher up you get here, the less you want them to play, and the less you want to sink cards into them. So that's just another reason why you don't want truly random rewards, and why you should really try to judiciously spend your resources and make sure that you are progressing as efficiently as possible. So you want to keep your plasma, you want to spend it on guaranteed packs, you want to make sure you're progressing in a direction you want to. You want to make sure that you have some focus on that. Yeah, and that's my TED talk. So really, and let's just run some quick numbers too. So we already talked about the 31,000-ish plasma, or 31,000 cards you would need to get one level of every single common card. And that, of course, if you're early on, it goes a little bit faster. But once you get to like middle level, where most of your cards have trait rank 3, which happens surprisingly quickly, at that point, you're just like completely wasting your resources if you're getting 80% commons, 93% commons and rares that are just spread across your entire possible collection. It's not great. Skull packs likewise. They're good. You use them to progress, and occasionally you pop a skull pack and get a legendary. Awesome. Enjoy that, but do not invest resources into doing that because it's not great. And just to talk about this, let's see. So the 18-hour or the 3-hour packs, I mean, even right now, to save 2.5 hours would cost 16 plasma, which is a lot because plasma is about $2 per 150, which adds up real quick. So this is not dollar amount that much, but it adds up the more you spend in this. So if I open 10 of those, that then would be $2, and that's fine, but you're more likely to get better rewards out of a $4 pack. Where we go? Where'd it go? Ooh, now these are pretty good. So these are also pretty good ones. If you see these pop up 600 plasma packs, especially for new players, that's at least one level of all of these. Not great, but you do want to kind of keep an eye out for ones where they have really good stuff in them. And if you're going to spend 2,000 plasma, this is really, really good. It's not that many copies, but it's a Supreme Commander, one of the best legendary cards in the game, and then a decent spread of other stuff that can really help kickstart your collection and win you some early games. And then this one, 450, that's really good. So let's see, I was looking for these guys. These are really much better value than spending the money on plasma to open those packs fast, especially if you're low level. This will really help kickstart you much more quickly. And then let's see, we talked about the drop rate, and in the shop, in the card shop being one of my favorite places to spend gold, again, one copy of a legendary, or excuse me, one copy of an epic for 75 plasma. I don't buy legendaries in here because the plasma cost is bonkers and you just get the one copy of the legendary. You can keep the plasma on hand to be able to do that, but it's like 500 plasma for just one copy, where you could spend that 500 plasma on one of those guaranteed warlord packs when one of those warlords pops up. That's also bad because you get the guaranteed result, but you only get a single card, and that's not great because most of the time you get that single card plus X number of other cards go along with it, and it's better than that. So I buy epics in there, I don't buy legendaries, and I buy commons all the time. So that's also a really good place if you want to fill up your commons collection. This will not only let you fill it up in a manner on the cards you want, but also level them up, especially if you're early on. You're probably getting a lot of gold, even progressing through the free side of the battle pass. you can very comfortably level up cards in your sub-factions if you check this regularly. And that's gold instead of plasma, which again is easier to refill. So it's a much better way to get your commons filled out than spending plasma. And then let's see. Yeah, that's it. Hopefully I haven't rambled too much. Hopefully that's kind of made sense. There's been a lot of back and forth about this, about a lot of very entrenched opinions that the best way to spend plasma is to open these skull packs, and I don't see it. I went into this trying to crunch the numbers, trying to run through and being like, am I wrong? What am I missing that makes this a good use of plasma? And I found, quite honestly, nothing. I did not find a compelling argument at all. So my personal, completely informal, not professional, but semi-professional advice here is don't do that. Save your plasma for literally anything else. Don't ever spend plasma on completely random drops that can be absolutely anything. Even if you're a new player trying to flesh out your collection, you want to prime that first by making sure you pick up the epic or legendary first. But even then, there are better ways to spend your resources than on the truly random drops. There we go. Now, this is a quick video just for today, and then I will be doing another one on how to spend your wild cards, and it's going to be kind of continuation of this, just based on how to kind of have a direction to your progression. So you have a couple really powerful factions and decks. They can help you push forward in the competitive ladder. They can help you have more fun and satisfying games, and then also build up the rest of your collection behind them. You want your 4 champion decks to kind of help you get that progression, get you through campaigns. Eventually, you want to have every single faction leveled up to a decent point, but before then, you will benefit a lot from focusing your resources in your collection in some way. Even if you pick one sub-faction, one warlord, whatever you want to do, focus your resources and time on a smaller pool of the total, and then let the rest of the pool catch up. And that's kind of the general rule. So that's it. We'll call it there. This has been long. Hopefully it's helpful. But yeah, if anyone wants to completely deflate this whole argument and tell me why spending plasma on skull packs is the only way to do it, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Bring it on. Yeah, we may do a follow-up depending on the responses we get there, but we'll see. Anyway, cheers. Till next time.